Rain streaked the grand windows of the Wilson estate, reflecting chandeliers that glittered like frozen fire. I stepped from my modest black sedan, adjusting my dress, a quiet armor against the sharp stares and subtle judgments that awaited. The annual family reunion, a decade of enduring smirks, whispers, and condescending compliments, was in full swing. Crystal floors reflected designer heels and glinting watches, each one a reminder of the hierarchy I had been born into yet refused to bow to. I lingered near the grand staircase, letting my gaze roam over my cousins as they performed their ritual of competition. Ethan, fresh from making partner, boasted about wins no one asked for. James narrated acquisitions with the precision of a trained auctioneer. My Aunt Patricia floated nearby, sharp eyes scanning, her smile polished but sharp enough to cut glass. I smiled faintly, sipping my champagne, observing, storing. Every laugh, every condescending word was fuel for a fire that had quietly burned for 10 years. Olivia, Aunt Patricia's voice sliced through the chatter. Still at that consulting firm? Summit, something. Her tone dripped judgment, her perfectly manicured nails emphasizing her superiority. I lifted my glass in a measured toast. Yes, Summit Solutions. Keeping me busy, I replied lightly, letting her anticipation of disappointment hang in the air. She blinked once, then moved on, leaving me with a small smile behind my glass. Years ago, in this same room, I had left humiliated, dismissed by my family's rigid ideas of success. That night, I made 2 decisions: to build my own empire without their help and to ensure they would regret dismissing me. Summit Solutions began in a cramped office above a Chinese restaurant with a single client teetering on bankruptcy. I had poured months into analyzing their operations, implementing strategies, and quietly guiding them to profitability. The whispers of a mysterious consulting firm began spreading. My name never appeared publicly. I remained invisible, underestimated on purpose. Tonight, as the reunion continued, their laughter and chatter were music to my patience. My phone buzzed with a reminder. Wilson Ventures requested a merger discussion with Williams Manufacturing tomorrow morning. They were walking into my world, unaware they had already lost control. For 10 years, I had waited, hidden in plain sight, building power in silence. And tomorrow, they would discover that the quiet secretary they dismissed was the very force they had underestimated. The night moved like a slow-motion film, each scene highlighting the familiar hierarchy of my relatives. Ethan leaned into Uncle Robert, spinning his achievements like a web. James meticulously recorded every detail, primed to pounce. Patricia floated elegantly, scattering compliments as tactical jabs. I observed, noting the patterns, the predictable movements, the arrogance. I recalled Summit Solutions' early days: tiny office, worn furniture, one desperate client, and an unrelenting ambition to prove myself. The company's growth had been methodical, precise, and hidden. Each hire was selected for loyalty and skill. Every success was quiet, deliberate. In 6 months, our first client thrived again, setting the stage for a firm that would quietly dominate the consulting world while I remained the secretary. Aunt Patricia drifted near, dripping patronizing concern. Olivia, dear, shouldn't you stick to water? I smiled faintly. Thank you, Aunt Patricia. How's Williams Manufacturing? Her fleeting falter did not go unnoticed. For 3 months, Williams Manufacturing had been under Summit Solutions' guidance, reversing a hostile takeover attempted by Uncle Robert. My secret interventions were turning their plans into failures, quietly, strategically. I moved through the crowd, laughing politely, concealing the storm beneath. 10 years of careful patience had honed my timing. Tomorrow's meeting would be the culmination of that work. Every joke, every remark, every attempt to diminish me had been catalogued. The world thought they knew me. They had no idea the empire I had built, the power I wielded, and the reckoning awaiting them. The next morning, the polished elevator doors opened, revealing Summit Solutions' executive floor. Gone was the understated black dress. Today, I wore a tailored navy suit, a subtle declaration of authority. Maya, my assistant, waited with her knowing smile, the calm before the storm. The Wilson Ventures team arrived early. Uncle Robert's face betrayed tension he struggled to mask. Ethan strutted confidently. James brandished spreadsheets like weapons. Aunt Patricia floated, calculating. Mr. Harrison of Williams Manufacturing looked uneasy, aware that he was entering a charged room. At 8:57 a.m., I opened the conference room doors. Conversation froze. Uncle Robert assumed the head of the table, a move that instantly shifted. Patricia's eyes landed on me. Olivia, what are you wearing? Why aren't you carrying coffee? I walked past them, seating myself opposite Uncle Robert. I don't serve coffee anymore, I said, calm. In fact, I never really did. Silence fell. Ethan's jaw twitched. James dropped his pen. Patricia's composure cracked. Where is Summit's CEO? Uncle Robert demanded. You're looking at her, I replied. I outlined Summit Solutions' accomplishments, billions in assets, saving failing companies, thwarting their acquisition attempts, restoring Williams Manufacturing. Maya distributed contracts for the merger. Their shock was tangible. Ethan sputtered, this can't be real. Real enough, I said. 10 years I've built this company while you assumed I was inconsequential. Every predatory move you made? Quietly undermined. I am Summit Solutions CEO. Today, you negotiate with me. The room erupted into panic. My family's confidence faltered. My empire's power became undeniable. The invisible secretary had orchestrated the perfect reversal. Section 4, Build TO Climax. Uncle Robert's face flushed crimson. James frantically reviewed financials, sweat beading on his brow. Ethan sank into his chair, stunned, as I methodically outlined Summit's position, market dominance, controlling interest, and strategic leverage. Each detail, each projection, was a scalpel cutting through years of arrogance. Patricia attempted to intervene, her voice quivering. This is absurd. Business is absurd, I replied evenly. You taught me to seize power, eliminate competition, never show weakness. I followed your lessons, but on my terms. Maya stepped forward with additional documentation, growth charts, client successes, and records proving Summit Solutions' market superiority. Uncle Robert's fists clenched as the room's tension reached a crescendo. He realized too late that he had underestimated me, not just once, but for a decade. I allowed a quiet moment, letting their disbelief ferment. Every glance, every muttered word, every collapsing smirk was precisely timed. I had built not just wealth, but leverage, patience, and inevitability. The room became a theater of revelation. Their assumptions, once solid as stone, now shattered. My hidden strength radiated through every word, every document, every calculated pause. Uncle Robert, Aunt Patricia, Ethan, James, I began, voice calm, unyielding. You have until 5 p.m. today to review the merger terms. They are generous, considering our position. If you decline, Summit Solutions will begin purchasing controlling stock tomorrow. Chaos erupted. Patricia gasped. Ethan's face went pale. James fumbled with his phone. Uncle Robert tried to assert control, growling, "This is blackmail." "No," I corrected. "This is business. The kind you taught me." I could have revealed myself sooner, but I waited until Summit Solutions was strong enough to create real change. I handed him a folder detailing merger terms, outlining ethical restructuring, and offering a choice: accept the new direction or retire gracefully. Their reactions were a symphony of shock, fear, and admiration. For 10 years, the underestimated had become the architect of justice. Maya distributed celebratory contracts, showing the room that Summit Solutions' influence extended far beyond their assumptions. Every hostile acquisition thwarted, every failing company saved, every overlooked opportunity restored. My family was witnessing the power of patience and strategic intelligence. The press couldn't get enough. Headlines screamed, "Invisible Secretary Builds Billion-Dollar Empire," and "Wilson Family Shocked by Hidden CEO." Interviews flooded in, but I remained focused on real victories, empowering women, mentoring young professionals, and redefining what business success could be. Weeks later, my mother sent a single line, "I always knew you would show them." Uncle Robert announced retirement, including a note crediting me with teaching him that true success is measured in impact, not acquisitions. Summit Solutions' ethical approach reshaped industries. The next reunion would be mine, hosted in Summit's conference room, where I once served coffee. No longer invisible, no longer underestimated, I had built something extraordinary, quietly, patiently, under the world's nose. Power, I realized, often looks like a quiet woman in a black dress building an empire, while everyone else looks the other way. And for the first time, I smiled without reservation.